Australia declared war on emus and lost. Not metaphorically, not as a joke. In 1932, the Australian military was sent into battle against giant flightless birds armed with machine guns. The soldiers had military training. They had thousands of rounds of ammunition. The emus had legs. And somehow, the emus won. The story sounds like an internet meme, but it actually happened. The Great Emu War remains one of the strangest military operations in modern history. Yet, beneath the absurd headlines is a story about economic hardship, desperate farmers, political pressure, and one very unexpected enemy. To understand how a nation ended up deploying soldiers against birds, we need to travel back to Australia during one of the most difficult periods in its history. The year was 1932. The world was deep in the Great Depression. Jobs were scarce, money was tight, and farmers across Australia were struggling to survive. Many veterans who had served during World War I had been given land in Western Australia as part of government settlement programs. The idea was simple: reward soldiers with farmland and help build the country's agricultural industry. Unfortunately, farming turned out to be much harder than expected. Droughts damaged crops. Falling wheat prices devastated incomes. Many farmers found themselves barely making ends meet. And then came the emus. Every year, tens of thousands of emus migrated across Western Australia after breeding season. Standing nearly 6 feet tall and capable of running up to 50 kilometers per hour, these birds weren't just passing through, they were hungry. Around 20,000 emus descended on farming regions, trampling fences, eating crops, and causing massive damage to already struggling farms. For farmers facing financial ruin, the birds weren't just annoying, they were a disaster. The farmers demanded government action, and incredibly, the government agreed. Their solution? Send in the military. In November 1932, soldiers from the Australian Army arrived in Western Australia. Their mission was straightforward: reduce the emu population and protect the crops. The force was small, just a handful of soldiers led by Major G.P.W. Meredith. But they brought something the emus didn't have: machine guns. Specifically, Lewis machine guns capable of firing hundreds of rounds per minute. On paper, this should have been easy. After all, how difficult could it be to defeat a large flock of birds? The answer turned out to be very difficult. The first encounters were almost comical. When soldiers approached large groups of emus, the birds didn't politely stand still. They scattered. Emus ran in every direction at remarkable speed. Instead of one large target, soldiers suddenly faced hundreds of smaller moving targets, racing across rough terrain. Machine gun fire erupted, dust flew, birds sprinted. Many escaped completely unharmed. Major Meredith later observed something remarkable. The emus seemed surprisingly organized. Large groups would split into smaller units. Some birds appeared to act as lookouts, warning the others when danger approached. Whether or not they were actually coordinating, the result was the same. The emus were proving frustratingly difficult to hit. The military tried different tactics. At one point, they mounted a machine gun onto a truck to chase the birds. This sounded brilliant in theory. In practice, it was a disaster. The truck bounced violently across uneven terrain. The gunner couldn't aim accurately. The vehicle struggled to keep pace with the surprisingly fast birds. The operation became something resembling a slapstick comedy. Meanwhile, ammunition continued disappearing. Thousands of rounds were fired. The results were underwhelming. Reports varied, but the number of emus eliminated was far below expectations. Certainly nowhere near enough to stop the damage. The birds simply kept running, and eating, and multiplying the embarrassment. After expending roughly 10,000 rounds of ammunition, the military operation was eventually suspended. The emus remained. The crop damage continued, and newspapers had a field day. Journalists mocked the entire affair. Headlines portrayed the military as an army unable to defeat birds. The story spread far beyond Australia, becoming an international source of amusement. To be fair, the operation wasn't completely ineffective. Some emus were killed, and later campaigns claimed greater success. But the public perception was already locked in. The Great Emu War had become a symbol of an unexpected military defeat. Eventually, authorities shifted toward other methods, including bounty programs that paid hunters for emu kills. These approaches proved far more practical than deploying soldiers. The military quietly stepped away from the conflict. The emus, meanwhile, continued being emus. It's easy to laugh at the Great Emu War, and honestly, it is pretty funny. But the story reveals something important about life during the Great Depression. Farmers were desperate. Many were facing financial collapse. Their livelihoods were being destroyed, and they needed help immediately. What looks ridiculous from today's perspective was actually an attempt to solve a very real crisis. The military wasn't sent because politicians hated birds. They were sent because thousands of struggling farmers believed they had no other options. Sometimes, history's strangest stories emerge from very serious problems. So, yes, Australia once declared war on emus. The soldiers had machine guns. The emus had speed, endurance, and apparently a talent for avoiding bullets. And in the court of public opinion, the birds won. The Great Emu War remains one of history's most bizarre chapters, a reminder that reality is often stranger than fiction. If an entire nation can lose to birds, what else has history gotten hilariously wrong? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more unbelievable stories from history.